Welcome back to Let's Talk Speed. We are currently on episode 4, and I'm super excited to get this episode rolling. Honestly, I'm even more excited to introduce our next guest. We got a 4-time WIAC conference champion, a 4-time national champion at that, and then also a 2-time WIAC athlete of the year. We have a very prominent UWL sprinter by the name of Jarret.
Hi.
Welcome
Thanks for
on,
having me.
Lauren. Good to see you. How have you been, man? How's life going so far?
Good. Life's good. We're just about to get our season rolling. Actually, tomorrow we have our first alumni meet, so super excited.
Yeah, early meet stuff, get some fun out, not too much adrenaline rush. So that sounds exciting, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Really, we just want to dive into first off, just give us a little background about yourself, like where you're from, where you're born and raised, and like what or who got you into the sport track, if there was somebody who did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Lauren, born and raised in La Crosse, Wisconsin, never moved. And just some background about me is I'm from a big family, so I have 5 brothers and then 1 sister. So big family, we've always been like super active and pretty much every person in my family has been involved in track and field at some point. So that kind of like got me into track in the first place. And my mom actually attended UWL, which is like the school I'm at, and she was like sprinter jumper. She was all American, so she really was the one that kind of inspired me and got me into the sport, like at UWL specifically. But yeah, always been active as a family, and we've always just kind of like been interested in track, like all of us. So
Yeah, well, that's good to know. I honestly didn't know you were from La Crosse. I was gonna like dig into why you ended up picking La Crosse, but that makes a lot of sense. Just being born and raised around that community, I'm
hmm
definitely it was probably an easy choice picking that school once it came to recruitment time. So it's good to know.
definitely.
Outside of your mom, did anyone else run track in your family? You said.
Yeah, so um we've pretty much all did track like when we were kids, but only 2 of my other siblings have done track collegiately. So my younger
Okay.
brother Matthew, he's a freshman at UWL, so it's
Yeah.
nice having him around. He also does the sprints, so um like it's nice to have him around. And then my older
Yeah.
brother Andrew, he graduated UWL in 2020, so he was the COVID year. He was a thrower actually, and he was a
Okay.
national champ too. So yeah, he
Wow.
definitely inspired me.
Yeah, y'all stacking up the trophies over there in the gym. Dope. Okay, so now I want to touch base on like growing up, you said you guys played a lot of sports, seemed like a very athletic family. So like how many other sports did you play? Was it just track or were you like more so active in other sports as well growing up?
Yeah, I loved tennis, and that was my like second sport, like growing up always. I never
Yeah.
did a winter sport. If I were to go back, I'd probably do like powerlifting or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I loved tennis. I just love like the competitive aspect of it. I was always a doubles player. And
Okay.
so like it was nice to be able to rely on your partner, and I like used like I guess some of my speed to be able to like hit certain balls or just like communicate with your partner. So I loved tennis and I played it like all through middle and high school.
Oh, okay. Good to know. I honestly never would have guessed that. So that's
Yeah.
something viewers probably wouldn't know either. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside, so like tennis, I want to bring up the fact because I tried to play some tennis, like just not competitively or anything like that, but I'll play like fun, like with my friends or like my family growing up and stuff like that. And that shit's hard, bro. Like it's a lot harder than people think. So salute to you for
Yes.
actually being like decent
Thank
at
you.
it. No.
Thank you. Yeah.
So like outside of that, so like in high school, I guess, I know you mentioned that you grew up in UWL area and like it probably was pretty easy to choose that. But like recruiting wise, I'm sure you were pretty freaking fast in high school. So like, how did the recruitment process really go?
Um, for me, actually, I just have to share and put it out there. I only ran 2 years of track in high
Uh-huh.
school. It was only my freshman year and my senior year.
Yeah.
So I got like no people reaching out to me. The only school that ever reached out to me was my freshman year. It was UW Stout, and it was like right or no, I think it was sophomore year because it was when COVID hit, and
Yeah.
they said like COVID's hitting and we'd love to have you like later on in the future. But other than that, I had no schools because I just did my freshman, my senior year, and you know how junior year is usually primarily like the age that college looks for you. So I
Yeah.
wasn't on the radar. So it wasn't like a decision where I had multiple schools trying to like um see if they wanted me. I actually reached out to UWL. So I really had no like options that like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, honestly, now that I hear that, I'm sure that coach is probably super happy that you end up reaching out, seeing the progress that you've made over the last couple of years. So that's
Thank
super,
you.
and that's a crazy story because like just from an outside perspective, like me seeing you winning Natties, being athlete of the year twice and stuff like that, like you would think like your recruitment process would have been like super stacked, and like going through COVID, it makes it a lot different. So that's super understandable. I'm glad you were able to figure out and find a path and still be successful for sure.
Thanks.
So we're gonna skip over why you chose UWL because I feel like that's pretty much prominently answered right there. Just the whole family basis and just growing up around there. So that was a super easy choice. I want to dive into now, like just like so much more of your collegiate life now. How has it been like managing your life outside of track, like just the schoolwork, the friendships, like I understand just trying to manage all of it, being a prominent athlete on top of that, like you're not just a normal athlete, like you're winning, so you got a lot of eyes on you and stuff. So elaborate on that.
Yeah, definitely when like school and track picks up and everything, like it can be a lot. And so
Yeah.
I would say the biggest thing I battle is like dealing with school and track because I'm studying right now exercise science,
Mm,
and I have hopes to like apply to PT school. And
yeah.
so, like, a lot of the curricular is hard. And so, I think that's the hardest part balancing because I obviously want to be like as good as I can be in track and like I
Absolutely.
hope to win and everything, but I also want to be like just as good in the classroom. And sometimes that is tough, like balancing between the two. Like, there'll be nights where I'm like, well, I got to stay up and study, but I also like have a meet in 2 days. So, it's definitely a challenge, I would say. But
Yeah.
like school like helps me out on the track and then track helps me out like in school. I guess I don't
Yeah.
know how like to word it, but like it just the two help me manage my time very well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, and I'd say like yes, things pick up in the school year and like it can be tough, but it's always so rewarding like in
Uh,
the end. Um but yeah, and then as for like balancing family and everything, I actually live at home because um
okay. So
yeah, my the campus that or UWL is literally 2 minutes from where I was, like, growing up, and
okay.
so it was just an easy choice, like, financially too, to stay
Yeah.
at home, so I guess that's really nice that I have, everything I need to, like, be able to still see my family all the time, and so,
Yeah.
like, that's not something that I, like, really stress out about because 'cause I'm, like, grateful and I, like, have my family around all the time.
Facts. Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
yeah, and then just, like, friends, like, seeing people at track, like, seeing people outside of that, like, I just try to have, like, a good balance, but yeah, like, it can be hard sometimes, but, like, it's definitely, like, manageable and, like, I wouldn't trade anything for anything.
Absolutely. Well, we got a two-time national champion. Obviously, you figured out somewhere well. So like, just for the outside viewers, guys, it's doable, man. Like, just so you guys know, like, it gets rough, it gets tough. It ain't roses and petals all the time for people, but you get through it. You just got to be able to put the work in. And she's an example right here, literally a speaking example for it right here. So that's dope. That's good to hear. I'm glad you're able to use like the classroom and track because I could personally attest to that, just like I call it like a cross motivator type of thing. Cause like I'm gonna be honest, like growing up, school wasn't like the most exciting thing for a kid like me. But once I started running track and really realizing like, hey, like I have to perform in the classroom if I want to be able to perform on Saturdays and stuff like that. So just those little cross motivators is what helped me, and I'm sure that's probably what helped you as well. So that's good to
Yeah,
hear.
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I want to dive into now really. So you said you live at home, so I'm assuming like you probably have a little bit of a better diet option than actually living on campus and having to deal with the cafeteria and stuff like that. So how do you really like manage like your food sources, and like how do you cut out the bad and weigh in the good and try to find the enjoyment in the good? Because some of that stuff isn't even tasty, we just got to eat it because it's healthy, so right on that.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, kinda like you said, like, I try to have, like, a good diet all around, but every once in a
Yeah.
while, like, I'll throw some sweets in there, but, like, I do know, like, as an athlete, like, I swear people don't talk about it enough as they should. Diet
Mm.
is, like, so important on the track. Like, you can put so much work in the weight room, in the track, but if you're not, like, eating right, like, it makes such a difference, and so I try to plan out my meals. Um, I eat a lot. I really eat a lot, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Like, ever since collegiate
agree.
track, like, you just have to. So, like,
Yeah,
I'll have a protein in there, like, carb, fat, like, I try to just have everything balanced, and then I'll eat, like, specific snacks, like, throughout the day, like, something as simple as, like, eating a snack right before lift, like, it changes your whole lift, like, or eating a
yeah,
snack, like,
literally.
right after practice, like, it makes such a difference. So, I feel like I definitely didn't figure that part out until probably, like, sophomore, junior year, like, freshman year, I just, like, ate when I was hungry and just kind of, like, didn't get down into the specifics of it, but
Yeah,
I
for sure.
attribute a lot of success to diet and, like, ever since, like, I really started focusing on that, like, I really just felt like a stronger, like, athlete, so it's so important and,
Yeah,
like, definitely, like, doing research and, like, finding, like, meals to eat or just, like, proportions and everything, like, it's so important, so, yeah.
abs- that's good to know. I want to ask you, like, so, like, does your mom help you out with that? Like, how does your mom, or like anyone in general, like in your support system, like, since your mom, you spoke about her being a national champion, and I'm sure she's probably developed her own good habits and stuff like that. Have any of those like trickled down to you and your brothers and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say just, like, coming from a big family, like, yes, my parents cook, but sometimes it's like we have so many kids, like, you just gotta cook for yourself, so I,
yeah,
like, have started cooking just, like, on my own at such a young age, and so
okay, yeah.
yeah, and so, like, um, I just say, like, I just cook and make my own recipes, I'll make food for my family sometimes or, like, they'll cook, but yeah,
What's your
I just
favorite thing to make? What's
favorite
one of your top things to make? Let's go with that. Let's give us a top three list if you got some top three foods that you can make.
okay.
Yeah.
Top 3 foods. Okay, I'll start with breakfast because I swear by this. If you're, like, on the go and you just need some food, toast, like, whole grain toast with peanut butter and a banana.
Okay.
Okay, there's, like, protein, carb,
That's all
like,
you
grain
need
and
right
everything.
there.
Yep, and you can eat it on the go. I'll eat it, like, on my way to class, and
Yeah.
then sometimes, like, I'll throw, like, a glass of milk in there for, like, some protein. That is, like, one of my staples. I'll eat that, like, 5 times out of the week, I swear.
It's good to
And
know.
then, yeah, one of my faves for dinner, I love making, like this is so basic, but, like, you can't go wrong with chicken and rice. Like, throw some corn in there, like, make a little chipotle bowl at home, like, I
Absolutely.
love doing that, so
A little fancy here and there. I feel you.
Yep, yep.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I like to mix it around, but I do have some of my faves, and then, like, for snacks, like, just a little piece of fruit or, like, some, um, like, um why am I blanking?
All
Uh,
good.
like a cheese stick or something like that for some protein.
Okay, yeah, something
So
quick. I feel you. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
yes. So something like stuff like that. I'll just like throw in my bag. But yeah, diet is so important.
I think we're back to hard, but yeah. So I'm glad you touched bases on like just the being able to manage it in the time, like, cause like I understand, like, bruh, we want to be able to eat and be able to feel good, but like we always have that time stamp, and like, should we eat this much when we got to meet in the next morning? Should we eat this much when we got to race in a couple hours? Or like the battle for me really is like the in between, like when we have a long meet and you got those like 3 to 4 events on that day, and you're trying to figure out like when and where to eat, and you don't want to mess up your like routine and habit and stuff like that. So I'm glad you touched bases on like being on the go, because that's really what it's like as an athlete,
Hmm.
probably for any athlete, but I would say more so for us for sure, because like just rapid timing. So figuring
Yep,
out
definitely.
a quick little snack like that is definitely beneficial. I might have to start working on that. The bread and
Yep.
might be a go-to, man. Give me a couple more natties, so that good.
Yep, it might be the secret.
Absolutely. So I love this question. I'm glad we're actually to this point now. So say for instance, a high school freshman version of yourself walked in the room right now, walked through that back door, sat down here next to you. How would that conversation look like with you and her? You know, like what are some things you tell her? What are some things you try to keep her from stressing, stuff like that? Yeah, just elaborate on that.
Hmm. Yeah, that question. I would say so I have to give a little bit of a backstory. Like I said, I only did like freshman year and then senior year for track.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reasoning behind it was sophomore year, like I also went out for track, but that was the COVID year. So we all got sent home, obviously. So I guess that year doesn't really count. But COVID kind of left me in like a little bit of a funk. I guess I just like didn't really have direction in my life and I didn't really I wasn't like okay, I did track really like all my life, like middle school, like even like early on, but I
Yeah.
never like fell in love with it until senior year.
Okay.
And I'll go back to junior year when like I quit obviously because I didn't go out for that year. I just, I was like I'll hang up the spikes like I did track, you know,
Wow.
like
Interesting.
all yeah, I was like I did it all in elementary and middle school. Like I just want to be done.
Mm.
So I obviously quit, and then senior year, I happened to rejoin again, and I fell in love with it. This is like the year where I really feel like I started track. I feel like
Okay.
like everyone's like, oh yeah, I did track like middle and high school, but like I feel like we all have like a turning point where we're like, oh, like I fell in love with this sport. Like this is what I need to be doing, and that was
Yeah.
my senior year for me because I obviously rejoined it. Such a short season, like 2 months, and
Yeah.
then that's what led me to go to UWL. So if I could go back to my freshman year self, I would say don't quit. Do not quit.
Yeah.
Stick with your sport um, because it leads to so many great things. I just think being in a sport in general just leads to so many great things. Like, I'm so grateful for my life right now. And if I
Mm.
never chose to do track collegiately, like, I don't know where I'd be. And I just am so grateful for like the opportunities it gives. So, like, if I'm saying something to my freshman year self, but also to just anybody out there that's in early high school, middle school, like do a sport and stick with it because it really, really changes your life.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I would say like there is like beauty in the fact that like I had quit before because it made me like obsessed with track. It made me feel like I was almost behind in a way. So I just kind of like put so much work into it. It was kind of
Yeah.
like a brand new, fresh start. So in a way, like it led to like not being burnt out. But just my advice is to don't quit and stick with the sport. And it just brings so many good things. And like, I can't imagine where I'd be if I never
Mm.
joined again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm thinking about it like, who knows? Like you
Mm-hmm.
live being a whole two-time champion, you got more to go, and like you could have been a whole tennis star. So I'm
You never know. I could be still in tennis. Who knows?
That is true, but I'm so glad you end up picking it back up, man, because you've been a really prominent face for the D3, putting us on the map just on the women's side. So that's super dope, especially being on the younger scale, not waiting till like fifth, sixth year type of vibe to start winning. So you're winning early, and that stuff's dope to see. For I'm
Thank
sure
you.
a lot of females in our sport, not even just D3. So continue on, man. You're doing a great job, Lauren. Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I do want to ask you this too. So like when we look at more so like the professional ladies, I know like the ladies are more so now coming on the scene now with track being more so of a big thing. We got the sprint show on Netflix and the Olympics just passed. Do you got any of like the pros that you really look to or try to find advice with or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd say recently I've been loving following Gabby Thomas. She's
Mm,
probably my number one idol just because I just love her like attitude, mindset, and then obviously like what she does on the track. So she's
yeah.
such a great role model. If I ever met her, I'd probably like freak out. Like that's just would be an insane experience. But yeah, like definitely her. She's kind of my inspiration really for the two because that's her main event. And
Yeah.
then I'd say for the 100, obviously Shakari's kicking it up on the track, so she's definitely my idol for like the shorter side of sprints, so like the 100 and everything.
Respect.
Those two are like top two athletes that if I ever, well, I actually did see Shakari in person once, but that's a different story. But like if I ever saw Gabby, like I'd freak out. Like,
Like, man, I can attest to that too. I'd probably freak out with you, so I can't because those two honestly, like just the way Gabby carries herself, like I can see a lot of that in you. So I can see why you would look up to her. Like you have a
hmm
professional aspect to yourself. You know how to carry yourself and know how to handle yourself from like being in front and as a leader. Like that could be pressureful for a lot of people especially in D3 and like being at your age right now, like you're able to actually hold that and be professional and hold conversations with a guy like me that you probably have never even talked to. So that's good that it's working out for you and you're looking up to someone like that. I'm glad that she's able to, put some light into your life as well. Uh,
Hmm.
I do want to ask you this too. So you mentioned the 200 and like how Gabby's like your inspo for that. Have you ever dibbled and dabbled in anything else? Like maybe a 300, maybe. I want to ask, will you ever? Like, do you think that's a possibility? Yeah.
Um, Speaking of 300s, that's funny because for our training at UWL, we always do a 300-meter time trial.
Yeah.
And when I tell you anything over 200 meters leaves me just on the ground. So I don't think ever competitively I'd run a 300. I honestly think that like if there was a 150 race, I'd probably prefer that over the two just
Okay.
because I don't know. I anything over that is just I guess I'd be like okay, but like my strong suits are definitely in the shorter side.
Gotcha.
So I don't think you'll be seeing me doing 300s, but what's funny is I actually used to jump like in uh, early middle or yeah, middle school, high
Okay.
school. I when I was a kid, like I loved jumping actually more than sprints. It was kind of like even, but like I would place better usually in the jumps. But then also like I don't know, I was about even. And freshman year when I like came to UWL and everything, and we had our first like one-on-one coaches
Yeah.
athlete meeting. The coach asked if I wanted to do like jumps and sprints. And
Hmm.
I just kind of thought about it, and it did kind of like hurt my body a lot. So I ended up
Yeah.
turning it down, and I didn't do it. But then I did try it again this year, and then I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it to rest. But I did
Yeah.
do a few practices, and I kind of thought about it. So there's a chance you might see me in the sand, but like I don't know. But that's my only other like event that like I'd be like super passionate about. So yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a long
No,
story, but
I can see you as a long jumper. I mean, you fit the sprint decal. So once you start jumping, I mean, I'm sure you'll probably get the hang of that again so super soon anyway. So I can attest to that too because I used to jump in high school, like my freshman and sophomore year. And I mean, I wasn't like overly good, but I can definitely understand what you mean. Like that's like it was taking a toll on my body, bro.
hmm
And like being able to understand that at such a young age, being like 15, 16, and knowing how your body's actually reacting to this stuff and not being so like headstrong, being like, oh, I can keep doing it. Oh, I can, you know what I'm saying? So you being able to make that decision and now you being able to still be successful in your other events, like that's dope to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like athletes got to
hmm
decipher sometimes, you know what I'm saying? What's good and what's really not. So it's good
Yep,
to
absolutely.
yeah. Outside of that though, like so for your main event, so like your one, your two, your 60, we know like you I'm assuming you're ready to go get some more natties, but like what are some goals you really got? Like you already got the school record in the 60, I believe, and you have it in the 100, right? And I would
hmm
believe you also have it in the 200 outdoor, not indoor yet, right? Correct?
Outdoor, yes, not indoor.
Okay, yeah. So like throw some goals out for that. Like is there anything that really sticks out or is I guess outside of that, is there anything left to even do? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I definitely would want to get like the 200 indoor.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks that this year we're on a flat, which I guess teach their own. Some people like the flat better.
Yeah.
And so like our school record right now is from a bank. So that would be a
Mm,
long shot to try to like reach that this year because I don't think no, we won't run on any banks like as a team.
yeah.
So maybe next year I'd shoot for that. But yeah, I just kind of want to really just be the best version of myself. I really just want to PR and
Yeah.
like see how far I can get. Like, I really want to bring my 60 down, my 100 down. Definitely want to focus on the indoor too this year because that's one event that I've kind of always struggled with. I run best just on a straightaway. So like something like the
Yeah.
60 and the 100, like I feel very strong and confident in. And
Yeah.
the outdoor too as well, because it's like a curve and then you're just shooting off the
Yeah.
straightaway. But this
Gotcha.
year I really want to focus on the indoor too, because I've always kind of struggled with the tight turns.
Yeah.
And
Same.
so yeah, that's one event. Like my freshman year, I had made it to nationals and I did an All-American and last year got sixth. So I definitely want to see like how well I can get in that and shoot for a
Mhm.
better place for sure. Because it's one event like that I think I still got some extra work to do. Like those turns really get me. So yeah, but otherwise, I'm really excited for the season. I just want to push myself, get some PRs, and see how far
Really?
it takes me.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting season for you. Just, I'm going to pray you stay healthy and keep taking care of business, honestly. Like, that's just the main thing, just the health aspect. Because in our sport, bro, it's just crazy. You never know. So,
Hmm.
staying healthy and sticking to that diet and, making sure you're going to PT and staying on top of stuff. So, absolutely. I'm excited to see what you can do, actually.
Yes, thank you.
I do want to ask you this too. This is another one of my favorite. This is probably my second favorite question, really, outside of the high school version.
Okay.
So if you had a dream race, right? I want to know like who would be in it, what would it,
Hmm.
and like just tell me like how would it go, who would win, or like how that race would look. Elaborate on that.
Okay. It would definitely be the outdoor 100 because it's
Okay.
my favorite event of all time. You know what? I might have a second answer to this question because if I did a
Well,
4x1, that would be insane. But I'll get to that.
yeah.
Going back to the 100 though, I would love to race like Gabby Thomas here, Shakari here, Julian Alfred maybe in the mix. Anyone
Ooh,
that was just in the end of the or in the final of the Olympics.
absolutely, yeah. That shit was busting, man. That was a crazy.
It's so insane. I would like just die. Like I'd get dead last, but like it'd be fun. um
Yeah, that's.
so that would be such a dream race. And then, oh my gosh, if I ran a 4x1, how like insane would that be if like Shakari like led no, Shakari's gotta be anchor. Maybe like Melissa Jefferson,
Okay.
me,
Okay.
Gabby, Shakari.
Ooh, I
That
like
would be
that.
insane.
Hey, you never know, man. You keep working, you might end up being on that quartet one of these days, man. Keep
I
working.
mean, I guess we'll see.
That's dope. That would be what's the time you think y'all running that 4x1? Just off the top of your head.
Ooh, maybe like 42. I don't want to slow us down. They're way
Hey,
faster
you
than
can't.
me.
Hey, it's not really a wrong answer, honestly, because you just never know.
Yeah.
I guess 42. I can see y'all going a little bit faster, low key too. Just depends on where you're at, competition
Yep.
wise, and
Yep.
just that plays a lot into the 4x1. So honestly, that would be dope, man. I'm glad you were able to let us know about that dream race. Maybe we can get some tags in here. Maybe we can see if those ladies shoot some shots at you or something like that.
Yes, yes.
But outside of that, really, I do also want to know, and this is pretty much like the wrapping up question, just to see, like just like your mindset, honestly. So like, why did you feel like D3 was like the choice for you? I guess I mean you kind of answered that earlier, but like, D3 is just a lot of people don't really circle that as their number one option. So like, how do you feel like that was a good fit for you? You know?
Yeah. Um, kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, like D3 really was the only option. Like
Yeah.
out of high school, my best 100 mark was 12.23, which is decently fast, but
Yeah.
just nowhere near like D1 caliber. So just choosing a college, like, D3 was the best fit because that's just where I was like time wise. But I look at it as like a blessing in disguise because where I'm at, I can confidently say that I have like all the resources I need to feel like it's like a D1
Hmm.
program. Like I'm really grateful for our facilities, really grateful for just the coaching. Like it feels like I have honestly everything I need to excel. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, honestly, it was such a blessing in disguise. And also, like I'd say, going back to like the school piece, like I'm
Yeah.
able to like focus on my academics while also focusing on track because track is one thing but track doesn't last like forever, and so like just also like getting an education, focusing on my career like
Yeah.
past when I hang up the spikes, like it's also so nice to be able to have that balance because I know in D1 like some people struggle like academically because they're traveling or they have extra stuff going on, but something as simple as like the D3 coaches being so accommodating for like
Mm,
academics is just like all I need to like want to stay in D3 because it just gives you the opportunity to excel in both areas. So, yeah, I
absolutely.
feel like such a blessing in disguise that like that's where I ended up and I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear. Because I was gonna like kind of close that question with like, do you ever feel like you like would want to go D1 if the opportunity arose? And honestly, like the opportunity is there, just knowing the athlete
Hmm.
are. So like, how do you feel about that? If like that question has ever arose, like have you had talks with your family about that, or have you even like processed that yourself, or are you just okay with where you're at? You know?
Hmm. Yeah, I have thought about that for sure.
Yeah,
Um, but I think ultimately, like, you have to stay where you feel like would help you progress the most. And I
yeah,
just don't ever want to ruin something that's like working for me. And so,
mhm,
like, freshman and sophomore year, like, I did have a few thoughts after my sophomore year. Um, so before this year started, that like that would be a good time to transfer if I was interested in it.
yeah,
But ultimately, like, I came across the decision that like this is best for me. Like, this is working for me. Like, I have all the resources I need. um, and I had some conversations with like coaches because I was hoping to be able to like get opportunities to maybe go to some like more, I guess, competitive meets and stuff. And so
yeah,
like they're
yeah,
willing, yeah, like they were willing to like have that as an idea. So yeah, I just feel like I'm very like grateful with where I'm at, and like I have everything I need to excel. So
yeah.
like why fix what's not broken, I guess.
Absolutely. That's exactly the term I was gonna say. I like live by that statement, honestly. Like my grandma like beat that into me when I was a kid. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and like sometimes you do want to kind of backfire on like you second guess. You're like, hey, you never know what could happen if I do go take this risk. But like, you're successful and you're doing your thing and you're comfortable. You got your family right there, so that's super understandable why you would like to, keep the things
Mhm.
the way they are. So that's good to hear. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, well, really, outside of that, man, this was like one of the dopest conversations we've had so far. You're the first female that's going to be on the pod, by the way.
Oh, great.
You're like the first. So that's super good to have you. And I was super excited for this interview, and I'm glad it went this way. And I'm glad
Mhm.
you're laying out and talk about your story, just the stuff that people don't know. Just they only see you crossing the finish line and the D3 Glory Days posts and stuff like that. So it's good to get a little bit of insight from Lauren herself. Absolutely.
Yes, and thanks for having me. This was such a great conversation. So, yeah, I appreciate you reaching out and like choosing me to be on the podcast. It's so awesome.
We'll definitely be in touch for sure. We got some other stuff that we're working on just with you and some other ladies that we'd like to touch bases with later in the season. So just stay tuned and you keep working, girl. All right. I'm excited to see you go get some more medals, some more titles. All right.
Yes, thank you.
God bless. All right.
See ya.